There's no doubt about it, Gerson Boom is the GOAT.
I'm lying on the cold, hard ground.
It's trying to headbutt me, bro.
No, not that kind of GOAT. No, I'm talking about literally the absolute greatest of all time within Deltarune, and maybe even within any universe that I have yet come across. Well, maybe not quite that far, but holy cow, Gerson belongs amongst the pantheon of some of the greatest characters ever. I want him to be seated right next to Dalinar Colin, please, because those two get along fantastically. I mean, this turtle monster, this guy's been a blacksmith, he's been a teacher, became an author, was a researcher, a legend, a Dark World hero. Yes, you heard me right. This man is a Dark World legend and hero. He absolutely is. This guy is probably the reason why the heroes will succeed at the end of Deltarune Chapter 7. Because he has already walked the paths that they have gone on, and as opposed to most other mentor figures in fiction, he's helping them by doing almost nothing. Brilliantly! And I am here to break down why that is. Hi there everyone, Lars here from Camille's Harem, a channel for novice authors by novice authors, because writing is an adventure, it's way more fun with friends, and we can definitely learn something from how Toby Fox has taken one of the best known tropes of all time, one of the most ancient ones, that being of the hero or the heroes finding a mentor, and kind of doing something very different with it.
What's that stank? You put a fish in our basket.
So first off, let's just revisit who Gerson Boom is. I mean, this guy is the legend of Hometown. If we thought that Asgore and then Azrael are kind of like the heroes of Hometown, the good golden boys everyone looked to, they have nothing on Gerson. This guy started off as a young turtle man with a business in blacksmithing, did a whole lot of really cool things, and he's like, you know what? I really like my blacksmithing job, but I know that there's a lot of stuff I don't know. So I'm going to educate myself. So he began studying, he began learning, so much so that he became a teacher. Not only did he become a teacher, I mean, this guy delved into all kinds of things from history to the nature of humans, raising children, magic, religion, philosophy, warfare. I mean, this guy, as far as we know, this guy has done it all. And not only that, he then decided he's going to pull a J.R.R. Tolkien and write a best-selling series while being a teacher, and a series that goes on to inspire generations with awe, with fantasy, with adventure, a story that gets adapted into a video game that everyone, all the cool kids in town have been playing and absolutely loved, namely Dragon Blazers. I mean, this guy also knows how to brew tea beautifully. He's a cook. What can't Gerson do? Well, one thing he can't do is he can't beat the prophecy. And that's where we honestly need to go next. So obviously, the prophecy's been around for a long time, and a lot of people know it. And here's the thing is that Gerson very likely is like, you know what? I'm going to fulfill this prophecy. I'm going to make sure that whatever happy ending, I, as the adventurer, I'm going to see it through. We don't know how he got to the Dark World. We don't know what even led him down this route. And this is one of the reasons why there's a lot of people who will push back on me as far as this particular analysis and theory go. Because they're like, no, we don't have any solid evidence that he went there, therefore he didn't go. Oh, contraire. We might not know what initially brought him to the Dark World, what his original motivations were, but here's the thing is that we know that Gerson tried to fulfill it, and he got pretty dang far. The Lord's Hammer series, as he tells it to us, was not just simply a documentation and fictionalization, but really a roadmap of the entire prophecy, how to complete it. However, when he got up to what would be the 6th book, or supposedly the final part of the prophecy, he got to a point where he just couldn't go any further. And it's conceivable that this is the part that terrified Ralsei and shocked and angered Susie so much that she socked that part of the prophecy and broke it. Something that was so horrible that not even this coolest of all guys could make it through. And rather than bash his head against this conundrum that he couldn't solve, he decided to hand off the journey and responsibility to another generation, namely his son. But Father Alvin couldn't manage it. Father Alvin maybe completely misunderstood and was like, I can't finish the story that you started. Or maybe Alvin actually did go on the journey himself and got to the same point and was like, I can't do this. No, I can't. And decided maybe when he got to a certain point where he's like, this is way too awful, decided to mollify things, tried to divert people away from the awfulness of the prophecy by being a preacher and redirecting them towards far greater things and trying to avoid every awful thing possible. I mean, when you talk to Father Alvin, he literally tries to avoid every unpleasant topic possible by diverting to something happy or something kind or something hopeful as quickly as he possibly can. So there was no way that Father Alvin was going to complete this, unfortunately. It's not in his nature. And so the journey then fell to Des, Azrael, and to Chris, which we know failed. And now that responsibility and journey has come to Chris, Susie, and Ralsei. But wait, you might be asking, hold on a second, how can Gerson be the absolute GOAT when he failed on his own quest and decided to kick the can of responsibility down the road and create a problem for other people, for kids to fix? That sounds absolutely dumb and awful. What the heck? And again, Lars, where exactly is your evidence for all of this? Well, the answers lie with how he treats Chris, Susie, and Ralsei. It's very clear very early on from when Gerson stumbles into the first fights that we get to see him in that he knows what's going on. He knows what Darkners are. All of his little weird tricks here and there are some of the best ways of dealing with these particular denizens of this particular dark world. He knows what all the puzzles are. He has all the answers already. And yet he stands back and lets the teens figure them out for themselves. Sure, they can ask him for help. They might be able to follow some of his clues or some of his leads, but he actually never gives a truly straightforward answer unless it's something rather simple or something grandiose and important to the person who needs to hear it for themselves. Not anything that actually moves the plot along or solves the greater mysteries of the Dark World. This is already where Toby Fox takes the idea of the great mentor figure, the older hermit or what have you, who's supposed to pass along the secret knowledge, the special knowledge to the hero in order for the hero to progress along his quest to enter into the underworld and then come forth with the knowledge necessary to save his world as per the hero's journey. And I've already talked about before how Toby Fox has kind of kicked the hero's journey to the curb for this, and he does it yet again with Gerson by having a mentor who doesn't seem to do a whole lot of mentoring, at least at first. And again, you have to pay attention to how he involves himself with the fun gang. With Susie, it takes a little bit of time. With Ralsei, his moments with Ralsei are unfortunately rather brief, but it really begins with Chris, prompting Chris to be like, hey, you can go wherever you want. You can choose whatever route you wish. There's no wrong answer. Sure, you might end up back in a place that you didn't want to be in, but guess what? You chose. And choosing is correct. That's right. And that's an interesting lesson right there, because we're looking for what are the right and wrong answers. We all do. Even the people who are like, I'm just going to go with the flow, man. Well, they go with the flow because they're like, the flow's telling me to go this way, therefore it's right. Gerson says, screw the flow. Gerson says, go wherever you want. Do whatever you want, so long as it's what you want. And this is rather interesting because, well, everything else in Chapter 4 is very much all in lines with follow the prophecy, because the prophecy will tell you the way to go, or try to avoid the prophecy, and guess what? No matter what you do, you will still fall in line with the prophecy. Your choices don't matter. You don't get to decide who or what you want to be in this world. Your choices don't matter. You cannot form or influence your own world. You can only do what the prophecy has already predetermined. That is the central conflict to Deltarune. Aside from becoming friends with everyone, that was one of the very first things that Toby Fox said. Your quest is to become friends with everyone. But as you're becoming friends with everyone and you're making your choices, you really do have to wonder, wait, do my choices really matter because of how the rest of the plot unfolds in a certain way? Sure, I can I can spare people, I can help people out, I can put Burley into a coma, I can gather great items and great power, or I can just focus on shipping, and yet no matter what, Chris and Susie are going to lose to the Knight. No matter what, King will be defeated. No matter what, the Titan will be overcome. No matter what, Noelle is going to crush. Like, no matter what you choose, the story continues to move on ahead and makes you wonder, do my choices really matter? And so that's why it's so important that Gerson makes it very clear to Chris at the beginning, you can choose wherever you go. Doesn't matter. No wrong choices here. Make your choice. And a great way to, I hope, illustrate why this is so important. So consider yourself as a little kid, and it's your very first experience seeing fresh cookies being brought out of the oven, these delicious, gooey chocolate chip cookies. Now, a parent will say, don't touch those are very hot. And so, as a kid, you're like, oh, no, I will not touch those cookies because they're very hot and I will get hurt. Or you'd be like, you can't tell me what to do, Mom, Dad, and then you grab and you get burned. You've made your decision based off of what someone has told you. And either you get burned or you don't get burned, and you might even then miss that special secret window when the cookies are at their freshest and absolute best. But because someone has given you this information, you immediately alter all of your choices and decisions based on the information, and you actually lose an amount of freedom. What if you were just a kid with no idea of what on earth any of this is, and you decided to explore it on your own? You're going to get hurt, you're going to get burned. But as a result, you've learned something very powerful, something that will inform your decisions going forward, something that you earned for yourself. And as a result, you've actually taken more power to yourself. You've grown in a way that you would never be able to grow otherwise. Now, that goes against a lot of conventional wisdom. And Gerson, who's a teacher, who's a mentor, someone who's supposed to protect kids, that seems very incongruent with his character. But again, thinking about everything we see in Chapter 4, Gerson is shadowing the fun gang the whole time. He's protecting them at the same time, but also giving them opportunities to learn to grow based on their choices. He's left an open playing field, but when it comes time, when they need it most, he's there to smash in a Titan's face. This guy is a proper teacher, encouraging them to learn through their own choices. Now, when it comes to Susie is just very much, I just need to plunge on ahead, we need to beat the Knight, we need to close this portal, and save this dark world, and save the world altogether, huzzah! But Gerson knows, no, that's not right, because an attitude like that is going to make you fall in with the prophecy and do whatever the prophecy wants you to do, which Susie does throughout the chapter. She's like, oh, we should always do what the prophecy says. It tells us all the cool stuff. And, oh, the prophecy says we're going to fall in love. Oh my, Chris, do not look, please! But Gerson, through his own experience, realizes going along with the prophecy or simply acting to go up against the prophecy is not enough. They will get crushed by the greater powers that stopped him from progressing. So what Gerson then does is Gerson seeks out what they are interested in. He uses the tea party. He uses the quest for the great axe. He uses music. He uses letters and little puzzles here and there to coax out of, especially Susie, what do you want? And when Susie's like, I really want that axe, then Gerson's like, okay. Then you're going to have to fight for this axe. Now that you've gone through the quest to find the axe, now you've got to get it. You will get it by showing me your strength. And as they're fighting, he teases her in the dialogue to express more of herself and say what it is that she really wants. And when he realizes that what she wants is just to be her own person, to enjoy every day to the fullest, for the adventures to never end, he's like, there we go. You have a desire. You know where you want to go. You just now need to start making the choices, regardless of the prophecy, regardless of the story to come, regardless of the darkness. What matters most is what you want and your choices, and that you can learn how to make your choices come to be. That is what Gerson does. And sure, he could instruct that to these three, Chris might take it or leave it. Ralsei, of course, will take all the notes possible and then be like, yes, sir, and try to live up to it, but Susie would very likely disregard it because, as Susie admits, she and teachers have never really gotten along before. She's not a good student. So Gerson, being the amazing teacher that he is, alters his approach to help her out specifically. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing to think about. Again, all these characters actually do get information. By the end of the chapter, all the characters, Chris, Ralsei, and Susie, know how the prophecy is supposed to end. Ralsei because he's a Prince of the Dark and has already memorized the whole prophecy. Susie because she rushes ahead and sees it, and Chris because Chris is in on the scheme to complete the prophecy. All three of them know what is coming. You want to know who doesn't know how this prophecy ends? You, the player. And Gerson knew that too. Gerson needs to make sure that Susie especially was prepared to do whatever is necessary to make her dream a reality. Now, even though she is armed with knowledge of what's coming ahead, she's going to try her absolute best and get crushed by the prophecy. Ralsei is trying to do his absolute nicest and circumvent the prophecy. He's going to get crushed. Chris is doing their best to somehow figure out if they're going to fulfill the prophecy or save their friends from the prophecy, and in the process is going to get crushed. But you know what? You know who's been receiving all these lessons and doesn't know how this all ends by seeing the last panel of the prophecy? You, the player. Gerson was also teaching you. Why? Because Gerson knew this whole time this setup. Gerson knew all along this is like a game. He has understood these various worlds, dimensions, and timelines, and the very nature of Deltarune. How could he not? This man has researched so much stuff in his long life, who has written an entire book series trying to help people to go on and finish the prophecy. This man has gained enough power to one-shot a Titan. Of course this guy knows. Of course he understands what's going on. That's why he's so free. He's so free because he understands the whole game and decides not to go along with it. That is why his version of the freedom theme is so much more liberating and so much more him. It's not dark, it's fun, it's banjo jazzy, and he can do whatever he wants. But he understands that his choices that were made in life did not lead to the conclusion of the prophecy the way that he hoped that it would be. A great happy ending for everyone. And so he has trained the next generation through his own unique way of educating Chris, Susie, Ralsei, and the player to go on to the next 3 chapters and face whatever is coming next. Chris, Susie, and Ralsei are going to do what they are going to do to try to bring about the best ending possible. But we as the player as well have our own freedom, our own agency. We know by playing the game thoroughly that there's various versions, various routes that we can go that all lead to varying levels of happiness or insanity and darkness and sadness. And it's our choice. We can choose whichever way we go. And because we don't know how this game ends, we are empowered to do whatever it is that we want to make the ending that we want. And that is why Gerson is the absolute GOAT, the OP hero who figured out why he couldn't finish the prophecy, why he could not bring about a happy ending for everyone, seeing the absolute darkness that was ahead, trying to prepare generations to come after him to complete it, and here, beyond death, he gets one final chance. What does he do? He educates Chris, Susie, and Ralsei, prepares them to be the heroes that they need to be, and at the same time he teaches us as the player. Not only that, let's just be honest here, this guy even manages to send a message to his son from beyond the grave. I mean, just how awesome is that? Gerson, you are super cool. This is why you deserve your spot in the pantheon of awesome characters right next to Dalinar Kholin. If you don't know what I mean, you gotta read the Stormlight Archive, because the Stormlight Archive is basically what Dragon Blazers is, just minus the JRPG, and actually it does have dragons, so I can't say it doesn't have dragons either. Huzzah! Alright, so there you have it. My reasoning for why Gerson is the absolute GOAT, and even though while we do not have all the answers to how it is that he got to the Dark World originally, or what his motivations were, what his history is, he honestly doesn't want us to have that. Why? Because this is our adventure. And while that's so frustrating because I want the context, you have no idea. I want the context. I want the history. I'm a freaking historian just like Gerson. Come on. Give it to me. I will not get it. The reason why I won't get it is because that would influence my choices going forward. Gerson understood that. Gerson knows that we all need to be as free as possible in order to confront whatever future the prophecy has for us, because it's only with the freedom and the determination that we have personally that we'll be able to get the proper ending. So with all that being said, those are my thoughts, my analysis, and insights into Gerson Boom, the greatest of all time. And I want to hear what your thoughts are on this absolute mad turtle of a teacher in the comments below. If you'd like to support the work that I do here at Camille's Harem, then please like, subscribe, share this video out with other people, because I want to see the discussions around Gerson Boom flower once again. And if you especially like what I've done here with this video, or the work that I do here for Camille's Harem, please check out the books that I've published for myself. Links for them are in the description below. You can help me become as famous as this awesome turtle. And I mean, heck, if we get there, I might even do a Gerson dance myself. But with all that being said, thank you so much for joining me on this incredible adventure that we call writing, and until the next video, y'all, tschüss.